Welcome to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. I'm Rusty Peace, your host, and then there were two. And what am I talking about? Well, we are down to two LMU athletic teams that are still in competition for the 14-15 scheduled season, and that, of course, is baseball and softball. The softball team representing the number 7 seed in the South Atlantic Conference tournament being played actually starting today. And we'll have results on next week's show, the season finale show, I might add, for the Railsplitter Athletics Report this year. And then, of course, the LMU baseball team, and they're the number 4 seed in this year's tournament. That's over in Forest City, North Carolina, and Jeff Sixai and his squad look to make some waves in the turbulent waters of the South Atlantic. So hopefully the two teams will fare well in this weekend's tournaments. Tonight on the show, we're going to be talking with Jeremy Donahue, who not only is the cross-country coach, he's also the track and field coach, and LMU tennis coach Benny Collins. Stay with us on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
We have a big problem, and we need your help.
It's happening on college campuses, at bars, at parties, even in high schools.
It's happening to our sisters and our daughters,
our wives and our friends.
It's called sexual assault, and it has to stop.
We have to stop it. So listen up.
If she doesn't consent, or if she can't consent, it's rape, it's assault.
It's a crime. It's wrong.
If I saw it happening, I was taught you have to do something about it.
If I saw it happening, I speak up.
If I saw it happening, I'd never blame her. I'd help her.
Because I don't want to be a part of the problem.
I want to be a part of the solution.
We need all of you to be part of the solution. This is about respect. It's about responsibility.
It's up to all of us to put an end to sexual assault. And that starts with you.
Because one is too many.
Hey everybody! Heart disease affects 1 in every 3 women in America, but you can fight back. There's no time to lose. Mothers, sisters, daughters, families, and friends, it's time to shout louder, stand stronger, and demand change. Let's go!
To the Batmobile! Dang it.
To the invisible jet!
Dang it.
Together, we can put an end to heart disease. It's time to go red for women. I could use your help. Yeah! Learn more from the American Heart Association at www.goredforwomen.org.
If you love your car or truck, let us help you keep it clean at Soapy J. Soapy J's has unlimited wash plans to fit every budget. Try our $5 express wash or one of our 3 monthly wash plans. The Wheel Deal, the Soapy J, or the new Blast Wax. With our monthly wash plans, if you pay with credit card, all you do is pay for the present month and your card will be billed on the 1st of each month. Don't forget, Soapy J's has free vacuums with any wash. Soapy J's Express Car Wash, open 7 days a week. Let us help keep your car or truck clean at Soapy J. Soapy J's on the Cumberland Gap Parkway, Middlesboro.
When Coach Donahue joins us, typically you think of cross country, and that takes place primarily in the fall. But he's a jack of many trades. We were joking a little while ago, master of none. That's what I like to say too. Benny Collins, who'll join us, will probably say the same thing as well. But he is also now the cross country coach and track and field coach here at Lincoln Memorial University. And Coach, I know that when you got a cross country squad that you have a season. You got to recruit for that season. Now you've got track and field. You got to recruit a lot of different positions there. That's more than a full-time job.
Oh yeah, he's definitely staying busy recruiting for both, but it's also many times one and the same athlete that you're trying to recruit. The good cross-country runners want to run track and field. Now we're expanding out a little bit with the sprint, so a few more athletes that we have to go after, but myself and then Shane Kurtzinger, my GA, has really done a good job taking the lead on that and going out and finding some real good athletes.
We've talked to Ryan Kuhn, the head men's lacrosse coach, and Caitlin Carossi, the head women's coach, a couple of times this year. They've been saddled with the task of starting programs from the ground up, and for them, they know what a lacrosse team needs right away. With you on track and field, we've started primarily with the distance folks in track and field, but now you're getting into a stage where we're going to have to start thinking about the field events, the javelin, the discus, the shot put, pole vault, etc. Now it comes down to your recruiting. It's almost, I want to call it position players if you were on a baseball field or something of that nature, but it's specialty type items.
Yeah, you're right. We did start largely with our distance runners, since that we had the cross-country runners already in place. Picked up some sprinters as well that did very well for us and look to expand in that area. Our process of growth is going to be kind of a multi-year plan of the athletes we bring in and with the facilities we have available and funding that we have available. As we're able to get the equipment, we'll expand out. So, our focus now is just to become better in the sprint side and really dominate on the track and pick up points here and there where we can in the field. And then, a couple of years down the line, really focus in on some throwers and jumpers.
The track and field sports, if you will, are the newest sports at Lincoln Memorial, newer even than lacrosse. That said, when you look at the South Atlantic Conference, 12-member institutions, how do you think for a first-year program we competed with what we had in the events that we participated in?
Well, we knew going in, of course, we weren't going to compete for a team title being as small as we were. But that being said, with the athletes we had, we wanted to make our presence felt. And we came away from the weekend feeling as good as we possibly could have from our performance this weekend. We knew we could probably beat or compete with Brevard and Coker and at least get a few teams because they're of comparable size, and we've got them on both the men's and women's side. And then pretty much placed runners in finals in all the events we expected to, and even picked up spots in the finals we didn't think, like the women's 800. And then the men's 800, we got a spot in there. And then the performances, like I say, of our sprinters was real good this weekend.
When I mean, how do you think we competed? I see where we competed, in the conference championships. Typically throughout your career as cross-country coach, we've had runners from different parts of the country, but we've also had a pretty good flavor of local talent on our teams. With the track and field, however, I noticed that you've tapped the Louisville market, so to speak. You've got some runners from up in that area and so forth. So this is the case now where you go out and you're competing against other colleges and universities for the fastest particular people in that event, and then they have to come here and take their skill to an entirely different level.
Yeah, we have expanded out with what we're trying to get outside of just the local. We have been successful with some in the hour, 2-hour radius, but as we're looking to become more competitive now, not just in track, but on the cross-country side, we are expanding where we're going out and getting these athletes. And this coming year, a lot of Texas flavor coming in and some international students. So, expanding, like you said, expanding our reach in recruiting.
Is it as cut and dried as it may look with recruiting a student athlete for track and field? I mean, by and large, you could probably look at times and say, well, this guy, he does a great job in the 200 meter, or he does a great job in the 100 meter. But, as student athletes get older, as they develop more from a physical standpoint, strength, speed, etc., stamina, you can take that game to a different level. And on the college level, we've seen guys come in as a finished product and then are surpassed by someone who comes in and maybe really works out and gets it to another level.
Yeah, it is. We are fortunate that you can look at times and distances on jumps or throws, and where they're going to be competitive early on in their career, but you do have to take into account what their coaching background and how long they've been in the sport and what their ultimate ceiling is as well. We've been fortunate. Whitney Elliott, who's been fantastic this year, came in as a walk-on that we didn't expect anything out of until her senior year, and she's now, in my opinion, without a doubt, the best female runner we've ever had at LMU that just luckily we got to walk onto the team. So sometimes you get those surprises that surpass way beyond what their time said in high school.
Several individuals from the LMU athletics community have decided to move over to the track and field events. I think Miranda Davenport moved over. She was a participant for you this year. I think Taylor Grigsby also moved over from a year ago or so ago from the cheerleading and maybe cross-country squad to the track and field events.
Yeah, Miranda came in this year, said she was interested to run track, and she was successful doing it with limited basis in high school, and she was one of those that snuck into the 800 final this year, and we weren't really expecting that, and so we get her back for one more year and think she'll do well. And Taylor Grigsby, another one that was dual sport when she came in and has really progressed nicely and been satisfied with what she's done thus far. She's hard on herself, wants to get even better, but she's doing very well.
That most likely probably comes from her lineage. Her father is kind of a perfectionist in his own right, Don Grigsby. He's our head athletic trainer. Coach, looking at the season past, one season now under your belt, knowing what's on the horizon, what do you have to recruit for the future of the 2015-16 season?
If we're looking at track and field right now, like I say, our immediate focus is getting just a couple more distance runners that could step in and be competitive right away, but then also expanding that sprint side of things. You know, we had 3 guys that were really a core 3 and picked up a 4th in the spring that did well. Like I said, Michael Braxton, Tosin Belicon, and John Slavin represented well. So we feel confident that we go out and find a few more to join that group. Then we're going to pick up several more points next year in the conference and maybe pick up even a few more spots. So that's the immediate focus right now. And then always, of course, getting more distance runners for cross country.
When it's all said and done and you have a full complement of athletes on the men's and women's track and field teams, realistically, what do you see as total numbers in the future?
I mean, once we really expand out, we'll look to have probably 35, 40 athletes on both sides, on the men and women's side of things. If you know, we're determined to be competitive in the conference, and the more athletes, quality athletes you have, the better chance you have of picking up those points. And you know, we're already just gauging so much interest this first year in high school recruits that I feel we'll get those numbers up there.
When that takes place, and we've got about 30 seconds left, do you foresee also with the field events, additional coaches being hired to I guess more so focus on the specialty events like discus and shot put and so forth?
Oh yes, yeah. We'll definitely. We picked up a couple walk-ons that just filled out a few numbers this year, but definitely once we look to expand, we want to pick up quality athletes in every event.
Well, Coach, we want to congratulate you on the inaugural season. It was certainly an impressive performance this year across the board from what we've been seeing in the statistics and so forth. And as we get that new track and field, we'll be able to watch these athletes here on campus. But we wish you the best of luck in the recruiting process.
Thank you.
All right. Jeremy Donahue of the LMU men's and women's track and field program, as well as the cross-country program, and you'll see him again in fall of 2015 with his student athletes out there on the course running for Lincoln Memorial. We're going to take a time out. When we come back, we'll talk with Benny Collins of the LMU tennis program.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
And to follow the swimming rules.
You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
Here in the garage.
Closet. Shoebox under the bed.
Where anyone can get to it.
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
You can be a hero by being prepared for an emergency. First, make a plan. Call a family meeting to plan for things like how to connect with loved ones after an emergency.
There.
Or your escape route.
I am not fast.
Build a kit. When disaster strikes, it's important to have enough supplies to last 3 days. And don't forget the batteries.
Low battery.
Number 3, know the facts. From blackouts to floods, no matter the emergency, the more you know about it, the better you can deal with it.
You're gonna need some upgrades.
Number 4, get involved. Lend a hand. In your community. to help others know their role in an emergency.
You guys, do you feel this? We're gonna be heroes!
You can be a hero by being prepared.
Yes!
Visit ready.gov/kids for more preparedness tips.
Back in studio with Benny Collins, head Lincoln Memorial University men's and women's tennis coach. A couple of weeks ago, we talked with him about the Lady Railsplitter tennis team and how they fared for 2015 spring season. We'll recap that a little bit, but we also want to talk about the men who advanced to the South Atlantic Conference Championships recently. And, of course, that was, I think, the field of 6. Is it 6 teams that go?
16 go, yes.
So 6 out of the 12 go. Coach, let's go back and recap the women's season. Obviously, the women fell a little bit short of where they wanted to go, which was to capture regular season crown and then eventually the conference tournament championship. But by and large, you know, you went through a lot of things this year, from injury to illness, and it's something that you just have to deal with year in, year out.
You're right on that, Rusty. You know, we started out very strong. You know, we opened up with the University of Cumberland and played Eastern Kentucky, a D1 team. Looked really strong. We beat Young Harris, and the same weekend Young Harris beat the heck out of Carson Newman. We looked really good, and then we had that 4 or 5 week off spell with that bad weather and all that snow, and we ended up coming out of that with 2 of our main players hurt. So you know, once we started back, we were snake bit from the get-go right there. So, and we never did really recover from all those injuries, and it was just helter-skelter trying to get the lineup in there and get to play through it. It was tough.
Well, not only that, I think, and again, we're not making excuses. I mean, this team competed, and don't think otherwise. For the most part, though, in terms of what you're accustomed to coaching here at Lincoln Memorial, this was a very young team.
Still yet a young team. We do not have any seniors on the team. We had 2 juniors that were playing, and the rest of them were sophomores and freshmen, and so we're still young. Hard-working bunch of young ladies, and you know, I'm looking to add. In fact, we just signed the Virginia State champ this week to go along with them, and we'll probably sign another player. And with everybody returning back, they should be really competitive next year. But let me say one thing about the South Atlantic Conference. 4 of the South Atlantic Conference teams were in the top 10 of the Southeast region. That takes in the Peach Belt Conference, Carolina, and the South Atlantic Conference. Then when you can do that against those Peach Belt teams that are all fully funded, I mean, they're loaded, that tells you how strong the South Atlantic Conference Women's Conference was this year.
Well, without a doubt, the league and the region are as strong as they've ever been. We saw the strength of the South region in the days of the Gulf South Conference with the Valdosta State, the West Floridas. Right. They're always perennial, not perennial powerhouses, but collegiate powerhouses. Coach, at the top of the lineup, Elena Vasilyeva was just a shining star for you again this year.
You know, she lost 1 match, and then I knew, everybody knew it was going to come down to her and the Queens girl. The Queens girl was undefeated, and Elena was undefeated, and it was a hard-fought match. The girl was really good. She beat Elena, and that was, you know, that match decided the Conference Player of the Year. So she excelled in singles and doubles. You know, just a stellar act. I mean, you can't say anything, but she just goes out there and competes. You know, I told the boys when we were hitting some indoors, I told the men, I said, if you want to raise your level of play, practice like Elena. I said, she's on a mission. I knew she was going after that Conference Player of the Year, you know, and I mean, when she got on that tennis court, when she hit with the boys, she was really pounding that ball, and she was on a mission now, I'm telling you.
Without a doubt, she is the leader in terms of the women's side of the tennis program. Now, she'll return next year. You've already alluded to the fact that you have no seniors on the women's squad. Who do you have returning, and where is that going to shape the lineup?
Well, everybody, you know, we lose nobody, so everybody comes back. Everybody comes back in. You know, we signed the Virginia State champ. We're going to sign another girl, so you know the lineup will be whoever takes the spots. You know, we have a playoff in the spring. And it's like a round robin thing, and whoever wins those positions takes those positions. I don't pick them, they earn them, you know, so that keeps them competitive.
All right, let's flip over to the men. You went to the South Atlantic Conference Championships. I think it was this past, well, actually last week, not during the weekend, but last week.
Right.
I think Anderson maybe was the opening match, and unfortunately it was a 5-0 loss for you.
You know, we played Anderson 5-4 earlier in the season, the regular season, and had a few points, just a few points one way in one of the doubles matches. We'd have won that match 5-4 instead of losing it 5-4. We go out there and we lose all 3 doubles against Anderson. we was doing pretty good in the singles, you know, when they stopped it. You know, we lost two spots that give them 5 points and stopped it. But if we'd have won one of the doubles matches and the way the singles was lining up, we had a shot to knock them out. We was winning some of those singles matches. But in the conference tournament, when the team wins 5 points, it's over, you stop right there. So that's what happened on that. But, you know, one thing I talked to Joey Anderson, Joey at Anderson, and this was what he said. He said every day that it rained or snowed or whatever and the weather's bad, they just go to Clemson indoors and practice. So until we get something that we can get indoors here and get these kids every day on the court that they need to be there, it's going to be tough to compete. You know, we'll be competitive, but when we get somewhere to go play indoors each day that we don't miss practice, then things will really turn around for us.
Yeah, with Lincoln Memorial, Tusculum, and Mars Hill being the northern, in our case, and well, we're and Carson Newman, we're the northern, and in our case, the northwesternmost school in the league. It creates a situation that's really kind of an unfair advantage or disadvantage because you don't get the practice times, especially when the spring was like it was this year. A lot of rain, a lot of late snow, and it really keeps you off the courts.
You know, I kept a little chart there for a while. I'd look each day. I got each town in my weather thing in my phone, and we play. You know, each school, and I would look and write down the temperature here and the temperature there, and it would make me mad. You know, because they'd be outside. I knew they'd be outside practicing. It was just too bad here. We had 21 inches of snow on the courts for like 2 or 3 weeks. Took forever to get that off, so we lost all that time. You know, we tried to go to Knoxville practice indoors, but it's just hard to get court time as much as you need, and then that becomes a burden traveling back and forth, you know, each and every trying to get that done. It's just so hard to do.
Yeah, golf, baseball, softball.
Everybody.
They all endure that same situation throughout the league, the Southeast region and the Southeast United States. So it's something that you have to deal with. You have to find a way to compete with it, but it would help tremendously to have an indoor practice facility for the tennis program.
Well, some of that may be in the works, you know. I can't say much about it, but I do know that we do have plans of changing that around a little bit, and when that happens, we will really jump up our level of play. We won't miss any practice, and you know, tennis is one of those games that you can condition, you can do all you want to do, but still yet there's nothing replaces hitting tennis balls on the court, running full speed, stopping, getting in position to hit that ball. There's nothing, you can't replace that with any other kind of drill.
All right, let's talk about the turnover for the men. Obviously, your team competed well enough to get into the league championships over in Rock Hill. Who do we lose, and what are we going to have to replace?
Well, you know, we lost 5 seniors the year before. We brought in 4 new players. These 4 new players come in and played at a high level. They were very talented. You know, I told the guys, I said, our realistic goal this year is to make the conference tournament with this basically new young team, and we did that. So they did it. I didn't do it. They done it. So that really impressed me. That made me feel good, and we could have won a couple more matches, just a few more points here and there. But we're going to lose senior Will Sparks, and we're going to lose senior Stephen Hall. These 2 guys have been. Stephen's been here 5 years. He missed 1 year. He had a medical problem, had to go home. But anyway. We lose those 2 guys, and everybody else will be back. I've already got 1 guy ready to sign. We've got a Spanish guy ready to sign. We're going to pick up another player or 2. And so with adding a couple, 2, 3 really solid players, with the lineup we got returning, we will be right there next year. We'll be very competitive. You know, these 4 new guys will be a year older, a year stronger, a year wiser, and they played at a high level. They won a lot of matches. They did well.
When you lose 5 players from a year ago, I mean, that's an overhaul in your lineup.
Oh, it's just a whole new team.
9 winnable points in a match, and you're right. There's 5 that are out immediately that you've got to replace.
You've got to replace. So that was a big challenge last year, trying to get. And, you know, you can get players, but you've got to get players that can compete in this conference. You know, and you've got to go through them, look at them, and you pick them, and you think this is the right guy. And we did that last year. We got the right guys to come in and do the job, you know.
Well, without a doubt, the LMU tennis programs are competing at a national level as they have been for many years. The trend was started years ago by Charlie Petit, by Jack Bondurant. You know, it's been carried right on over into the Benny Collins era, and we certainly look forward to seeing both of the programs back on the courts next year. What's in store for you in the off season?
Well, in the off season, you know, all the kids, they're basically they go back to all parts of the world to go home, and we'll have a tennis camp in the first week or 2 of June, and other than that, just recruiting, making sure everybody's got all the T's crossed and I's dotted, and get everything done, and that'll be about it.
All right, Coach, want to congratulate you again. Best of luck next year.
Thank you.
All right, Benny Collins of the LMU tennis programs. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll tell you what's coming up in the week ahead in terms of LMU athletics. Stay with us here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
At Citizens Bank, we're different from everyone else. We've proudly served business communities of Northeast Tennessee since 1912 and have security you can count on. We offer the convenience of internet banking, excellent loan services on various types of loans, cash management, and small business banking at all of our convenient locations in Harrogate, Tazewell, New Tazewell, Bean Station, and Morristown. Visit our website to find out more at citizensbanktn.com. Citizens Bank, no more banking as usual.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
From commercial to residential, from the basement to the attic, Knoxville Drywall can deliver full-service drywall, insulation, and paint contracting. Knoxville Drywall specializes in new and tenant build-outs, drywall repair, drywall grids, metal stud framing, acoustical ceilings, suspended drywall ceilings, and ceiling and wall texturing and painting. Knoxville Drywall also provides wall-blown insulation for existing walls, attic-blown insulation, wall and ceiling batts insulation, and crawlspace insulation. Knoxville Drywall Incorporated, serving Knoxville and the surrounding area for more than 56 years with outstanding quality and competitive pricing.
Whether institutional case good or architectural woodwork, Nolan Products Incorporated of Knoxville has been serving East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, and Southeast Kentucky since 1958. From concept to finish, Nolan Products custom builds to the highest quality standards to meet your facility specifications while using only the finest materials available. Nolan Products has been serving and meeting the needs and requirements of general contractors and architects in East Tennessee and surrounding area for more than 55 years. Nolan Products Incorporated, 912 Forsyth Street Northeast, Knoxville.
Folks, hard to believe we are down to the maybe the final week of LMU athletics. Only 2 teams remain. We've already mentioned that. With that in mind, we have only one show remaining for the Railsplitter Athletics Report for the 14-15 season. That'll be next Thursday night. You need to tune in. Adam Haley and I will do a special 1-hour presentation of the year in review in Lincoln Memorial University athletics. We'll start from the fall season, work your way through the winter sports, men's and women's basketball, and right into the spring finales as the LMU men's and baseball team and the women's softball team go into the South Atlantic Conference Championships this weekend. Softball today, again, they represent the 7th seed in the tournament. I believe they play at 12:30, so this show already on the air. We'll have results next week. And then, of course, the baseball team will get started tomorrow, and I believe that's double elimination, if I'm not mistaken, or round robin, if you will. So big weekend for the LMU boys and girls of the Diamond, and we wish them the best of luck in the SAC championships. All right, that's about all the time we have for this week. Folks, want to remind you to keep up to date on everything going on with LMU Athletics. Pull up the LMU Athletics website, www.lmurailsplitters.com. Everything from all the latest scores, facts, statistics, player profiles, roster schedules, and more. Until next week, I'm Rusty Peace. Good night, everybody.